We often talk about the honeymoon phase, those blissful beginnings of love where everything feels, well, effortless, bathed in that glow of new connection. We picture sunsets and perfect understanding, maybe imagining that just finding the one somehow insulates us from all of life's inevitable challenges. But here's where it gets really interesting. Where the rubber meets the road. What happens when life gets messy? Because let's face it, it always does. Today, we're diving deep into that very question. We're exploring how to build not just resilience, but a truly profound connection with your partner. Not just when things are easy, but specifically through the most difficult times. Our guide for this journey is the insightful Dr. Nader Attalla, and we're drawing these incredible nuggets of wisdom from his transformative couple therapy workbook. Specifically, we're looking at Chapter 3, which is titled Love Through Loss Navigating Challenges in Relationships. Our mission for you, listening in, is to come away from this deep dive not just well informed, but genuinely understanding how to make your love resilient, how to really strengthen your bond when life throws those unexpected, challenging curveballs.
Right. And what's fascinating about Dr. Atalla's approach, I think, is how he takes these incredibly complex, often really overwhelming emotional processes, and he just distills them into clear, actionable understanding. It's really helpful. He helps us shift our perspective entirely, you know, seeing challenges not as roadblocks that threaten to tear us apart, but actually as powerful, maybe even sacred, opportunities for deeper connection. It's about moving beyond maybe an idealized, perhaps even a naive version of love and embracing its full reality,
Yeah.
which is often messy, yes, but also profoundly rewarding. It's really in those moments of shared struggle, I find, that couples often discover the true, unshakable depth of their bond.
That makes sense. The inevitability of relationship storms beyond the wedding vows. So let's start with a foundational truth, one that Dr. Tala lays out right at the beginning of this chapter. He says, love doesn't protect you from life's storms. It gives you someone to hold during them.
It's such a powerful reframe, isn't it?
It really is. Because in our, deeply romanticized view of relationships, we often imagine that once you find the one or once you say, I do, you're somehow inoculated against hardship.
Yeah.
We kind of cling to this idea that love is this protective bubble, shielding us from the harsh realities of the world.
Right.
And wedding vows, they typically focus on for better, for richer, in sickness and in health, but they rarely spell out the nitty-gritty, do they? Like the day in, day out grind of what sickness or poor or worse actually feels like when you're living it.
Exactly. We get caught up in the ideal.
Yeah, assuming love is this impenetrable fortress, when actually, as Dr. Attalla points out, it's more like a sturdy lifeline, something that helps you navigate within the storm.
And that's precisely the point. Life, just by its very nature, is dynamic. It's unpredictable. And we as individuals, well, we're equally dynamic. We evolve, we change, and so do the circumstances around us. Dr. Attalla emphasizes that these challenges aren't rare exceptions. They are, in fact, universal human experiences. Experiences that every couple, really regardless of how strong or how long they've been together, will inevitably encounter. Think about the sheer variety of these storms. I mean, people lose jobs, they lose homes, their physical or mental health can decline drastically, long-held dreams can be shattered, unexpected tragedies can strike, bringing profound grief.
Right.
These aren't abstract concepts. They are the deeply personal, often brutal fabric of human experience. And the misconception that love should shield you from these experiences. Well, that's precisely what can leave couples feeling isolated, unprepared, and utterly blindsided when the inevitable happens. It's like being promised a calm sea voyage, only to hit a hurricane without ever having learned to swim.
So, then the critical question, the one that really shifts our entire perspective, isn't if these challenges will come knocking at your door. It's definitely how. How you choose to navigate them. Are you going to let them pull you apart, creating distance and maybe blame? Or are you going to face them together, becoming a more unified force? I like to think of it like a ship caught in a fierce storm.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
It's not about somehow avoiding the towering waves. That's impossible. It's about having a strong, dedicated crew on board, a sturdy vessel built for rough seas, and most importantly, that collective will to keep sailing, to steer through the chaos without losing each other overboard. The couples who truly make it through, the ones who emerge stronger on the other side, they aren't those who miraculously bypass all hardship. No. They're the ones who learned the art of weathering it, side by side, finding their rhythm, even when the world around them is just in disarray.
And this leads us to a really fascinating concept Dr. Attalla introduces. He says challenges aren't relationship killers, they're relationship revealers.
Ooh, I like that, relationship revealers.
Adversity, in a profound way, It just strips away all the superficial layers. It peels back the pretense, the smooth routines, the easy comforts. And it brings core values, hidden strengths, and your authentic selves right to the surface.
Okay.
Think of a couple who've maybe always used busy careers or a vibrant social life to fill every quiet moment, effectively avoiding deeper conversations about their fears or vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
A sudden health crisis or a profound job loss can just rip away those distractions, right?
Yeah.
Forcing them to confront not just the external challenge, but maybe the unaddressed fears, unspoken needs, or even long-simmering resentments within their bond. That's the revealing Dr. Attalla is talking about. It's uncomfortable, often painful, sure, but it's where a truly authentic connection can actually be forged.
Right.
It shows you what you're truly made of, both individually and as a unit. And even more importantly, it reveals what you can become. When you choose each other, even when everything else feels like it's falling apart around you. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests that resilience isn't just about bouncing back to where you were before. It's about evolving together, transforming through the experience to emerge stronger, more deeply rooted, and more genuinely connected than you were before the storm hit.
And here's the enduring narrative of it all. These storms, the way you navigate them together, those experiences become a permanent defining part of your shared story. It's woven into the very fabric of your relationship.
It's so true.
When you look back years from now, it won't just be the joyous anniversaries or the big milestones that stand out. It will be those quiet moments of shared struggle, the hands held tight, the whispered reassurances in the dark when everything felt uncertain. It's the memory of maybe sitting on the floor together, figuring out how to make ends meet, or comforting each other after a devastating loss. For a moment, maybe just consider your own life. Think about a particularly tough time you faced, perhaps individually or with a loved one. How did that period of adversity become part of your personal narrative? What did it reveal about you or about the people around you? Those moments, those raw experiences, they etch themselves into memory and profoundly shape who you are and who you are as a couple. 2. How challenges reshape relationships, cracks, or connections.
Building on that, Dr. Attalla makes it abundantly clear that when a couple experiences a significant loss or life challenge, the death of a loved one, a health crisis, profound financial hardship, or emotional burnout, it doesn't just impact the individuals involved. It profoundly reshapes the entire relationship dynamic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, imagine the immense external pressure of a job loss. It doesn't just affect one person's income, it trickles down into daily routines, the quality of your leisure activities, how you plan for the future, even the nuances of how you interact with each other around the dinner table or on a casual weekend, right?
Absolutely. These aren't isolated incidents. They are seismic shifts that reverberate through every corner of your shared life. They force a renegotiation of roles, expectations, and sometimes even identities.
And this reshaping, it can manifest in two equally profound yet opposite ways.
Exactly. Sometimes these shared experiences draw partners incredibly closer. The shared vulnerability, the raw honesty, the mutual support in the face of overwhelming odds. These elements can create an incredibly powerful us against the world mentality. You discover hidden reserves of strength, both individually and as a team, that you didn't even know existed. What's fascinating here is how holding each other's pieces, even in moments of profound brokenness, can lead to a more profound and authentic love. It's a love that embraces imperfections, finds beauty in the act of showing up for each other when you're both at your most vulnerable.
Yeah.
It solidifies a bond that might have felt strong before, but now has a true depth forged in the fires of shared experience. For example, a couple facing a child's serious illness might find themselves communicating on a deeper level, prioritizing their connection over everything else, and experiencing a renewed sense of partnership as they navigate the medical system together.
Okay, but on the flip side, challenges can just as easily expose existing cracks, right? Or even create new ones. It's like that small hairline fracture in a wall that you barely notice when everything is calm and sunny, easy and predictable.
Right.
But under immense pressure, say a structural shift or a severe storm, that tiny crack can expand, becoming a gaping hole, threatening the whole structure.
That's a perfect analogy. Similarly, a big life event can highlight communication issues you'd been subtly ignoring, or unresolved wounds festering beneath the surface, or maybe just an emotional distance that was easy to overlook when life was smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Suddenly, these minor fissures become glaring chasms, seemingly out of nowhere. The stress acts like a magnifying glass, revealing what was always there, but perhaps never addressed.
And this often comes to a head in how people cope differently, right? Divergent coping mechanisms.
Oh, absolutely. Consider grief, for example, after the loss of a parent. One partner might desperately need to talk about their pain, needing constant connection, validation, emotional processing, maybe even needing to rehash memories repeatedly.
Hmm.
The other partner, however, might instinctively retreat into silence, needing space to process internally, finding solace in solitude and feeling overwhelmed by too many words.
That sounds difficult.
It is. Neither approach is inherently wrong. They are simply different, valid ways of coping with immense pain. But in the context of a relationship already under stress, these differences can feel completely incompatible. It can lead to misunderstanding, frustration, and deep resentment.
I can see that.
One person might become hypopractical, focusing on logistics and solutions, while the other feels lost in a sea of overwhelming emotion, unable to even consider practicalities. This raises a really important question. How do partners bridge these vastly different needs during high-stress times, especially when both are vulnerable, depleted, and craving support in ways the other might not instinctively offer? It's a dance of profound empathy and negotiation.
Ultimately, Dr. Attalla emphasizes that these moments of challenge aren't just difficult periods. They act as pivotal turning points. They can become either breaking points where the relationship just splinters into the relentless pressure, unable to hold itself together,
Right.
or they can become breakthroughs where the relationship transforms into something stronger, more resilient, and more deeply connected than ever before.
Right. It's not about avoiding the storm that, as we've said, is impossible. It's about learning to dance in the rain together, finding a rhythm and a shared purpose. Even when the skies are gray, the winds are howling, and visibility is low.
It's about consciously choosing to move together, not apart, with every step you take. 3. Common storms couples encounter. Naming the waves.
So let's talk about some of these common storms, because naming them, recognizing their distinct impacts, can be incredibly validating for people listening.
Yeah, definitely.
Dr. Attalla systematically walks us through them, and as you listen, you might recognize some of these waves in your own experience or maybe in the experiences of those around you.
Hmm.
Understanding these categories can help us shift from simply reacting to consciously responding.
Okay, what's first?
First, there's the loss of a loved one. This is a broad and incredibly painful category. It encompasses everything from the devastating pain of a miscarriage or stillbirth to the profound grief of a parental death, the sudden shock of losing a sibling, or even the quiet sorrow of losing a beloved pet that was a cherished member of your family.
Mm-hmm.
Grief, as Dr. Attalla points out, it has a way of making everything else feel impossible, including connecting with the person right next to you,
Right.
even your partner.
Right.
The challenge here is often those divergent grieving styles we just mentioned. One partner might need to talk about their loss constantly, reliving memories, needing an outlet.
While the other needs silence.
Exactly. The other might instinctively retreat into silence, finding solace in solitude, feeling utterly overwhelmed by words, maybe even resenting the other's need to vocalize. You're both drowning, but in completely different ways. And it's incredibly difficult to know how to help your partner, or even yourself, when they become almost unrecognizable in their pain.
Yeah.
Grief doesn't follow a neat timeline, and it certainly doesn't care about your relationship's immediate needs for connection and stability. It can leave one partner feeling abandoned and the other feeling suffocated. It's tough.
Okay, what's next? Health issues.
Yes. This includes navigating chronic illness, adapting to a new disability, or facing the heartbreak of infertility. When your body betrays you, or your partner's body changes dramatically, it can feel like your entire sense of self and your identity as a couple is just falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, spontaneous plans become impossible. Intimacy changes or decreases significantly, and one person might inadvertently shift into a caregiver role, while the other feels like a burden, losing their independence and self-worth.
That's a hard dynamic.
Very. Dreams about the future, having children, traveling the world, simply growing old gracefully together, they get rewritten in ways you never expected. This forces a difficult period of grieving for the life you thought you'd have. The healthy partner might feel a quiet, guilt-ridden frustration or resentment for the lost possibilities, while the struggling partner feels profound guilt simply for existing or for the limitations their body now imposes on both of them. It creates this wedge of unspoken pain.
And then there's financial stress. That's a huge one for so many couples.
Immensely common and often destructive. Job loss, overwhelming debt, unexpected major expenses like home repairs or medical bills. These aren't just about money, are they?
No, rarely.
As Dr. Attalla wisely notes, money fights are rarely just about money. They're often about much deeper issues: safety, security, control, power dynamics, and conflicting values around spending versus saving or risk versus stability.
Right.
When you can't pay the rent or where the weight of debt presses down, everything else in life feels unstable. Those easy date nights disappear, leading to a loss of connection and shared joy. One person might desperately want to cut back on every single non-essential item, viewing any indulgence as reckless, while the other might believe a small splurge is necessary just to feel human again or to maintain a sense of normalcy.
And those different approaches clash.
Dramatically, these conflicting money blueprints that people often develop from childhood experiences can clash under financial pressure, creating a chasm where connection used to be. It can turn partners building a life together into little more than stressed-out roommates, splitting bills and, well, keeping score.
Okay, how about mental health challenges?
Increasingly prevalent and deeply impactful. Conditions like severe anxiety, clinical depression, or chronic burnout can profoundly impact a partner's ability to show up in the relationship, or even to recognize the needs of the other person.
Right.
When your brain isn't working right, when you're caught in a spiral of negative thoughts or maybe numb detachment, it's incredibly hard to be present for anyone, especially the person who needs you most.
Mm.
Depression often makes a partner withdraw, shut down, or become irritable just when the other craves connection and reassurance. Anxiety can lead to a desperate need for constant reassurance, which can paradoxically exhaust and drive the partner away.
Yeah, that's tricky.
The frustration of wanting to help but not knowing how, or having your efforts feel completely wrong, is immense. It can feel like the person you fell in love with has disappeared, replaced by someone who can barely get out of bed or engages in self-destructive behaviors, leaving you feeling lost, helpless, and utterly alone in the relationship.
Then there are identity transitions. What falls under that?
This category includes major life shifts, like becoming new parents, navigating the process of aging, immigrating to a new country, or the profound shift into retirement. Sometimes the challenge isn't what happens to you, but who you're both becoming as individuals, and whether you're growing in the same direction or maybe diverging significantly.
Okay, like new parents.
Exactly. New parents can lose themselves entirely in the endless cycle of sleepless nights, diaper changes, feeding schedules, forgetting they were lovers and individuals before they were co-parents. This can lead to a profound loss of intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Career changes can drastically shake up power dynamics. Moving to a new country might mean one partner thrives while the other feels utterly lost, isolated, creating an emotional chasm. Retirement, often seen as a golden age, can sometimes reveal that a couple built their entire relationship around being busy and having separate routines. And now they don't know how to just be together day in and day out, leading to unexpected tension and boredom.
Wow. And finally, trust wounds. That sounds serious.
It is profound and deeply damaging. Betrayal, whether it's infidelity, profound emotional withdrawal, or the resurfacing of past trauma. When the very foundation of safety and predictability within a relationship gets shaken, everything else feels unstable and fragile.
Like what kind of things?
This could manifest as an affair, obviously, or discovering a partner has been secretly hiding significant debt or struggling with an addiction that was concealed. It could also involve old, unresolved individual trauma getting triggered by a current event, making your otherwise safe and loving partner suddenly feel unsafe or unpredictable.
Yeah.
Trust, once broken, is not something that heals with time alone. It requires consistent, intentional, and often exhausting rebuilding from both people. It's a slow, painstaking process that demands profound transparency, accountability, and the courage to endure discomfort for an extended period, leading to immense strain on the relationship.
So as you can see, I mean, whether the challenge is primarily internal or external, a fleeting moment or a permanent shift, its impact inevitably ripples through every facet of your connection.
Exactly. The specific nature of the storm, in many ways, is secondary to the profound effect it has on the two people navigating it. What truly matters, and what Dr. Attalla consistently emphasizes, is not the size of the storm that determines whether you'll make it through. It's how you choose to face it together, what you bring to the table as a team. This raises an important question for us to ponder, right? How do we shift our focus from the what of the problem, the overwhelming event itself, to the how of our shared response? The collaborative approach we take. It's a fundamental reorientation that can change everything about how a couple experiences adversity. 4. Common myths about coping. Debunking obstacles to connection.
Okay, so as we try to navigate these incredibly complex challenges, we often carry these unspoken belief myths, really, about how we should cope. And these myths, well, they can sound noble or even logical on the surface, but they can actually sabotage our deepest efforts to connect with our partners.
That's so true. They're insidious.
Let's unpack three of the most common ones Dr. Attalla highlights, because understanding them is really the first step toward breaking free from their grip. Okay, myth one. If you're strong, we shouldn't need help.
Yeah.
This belief is particularly sneaky, isn't it? It sounds admirable, like you're being self-sufficient, ruggedly independent, maybe even stoic.
Mm-hmm.
We're often taught from a young age to be strong, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, or don't burden others. But in reality, this belief just isolates couples from the very support that could help them thrive during difficult times.
Precisely.
It creates this perverse incentive to suffer in silence, leading to immense internal pressure and making you feel like failures when you're genuinely struggling with something that's inherently hard.
Exactly. Dr. Attalla challenges this head-on by redefining strength. He says strength isn't about going alone. It's about knowing when and how to reach out. The strongest couples aren't those who wall themselves off, trying to white-knuckle their way through every problem, bearing burdens in grim isolation. No. They're the ones who actively seek help, who understand that vulnerability is actually a superpower, not a weakness.
Right.
They lean on friends, family, and professionals, whether it's a therapist, a support group, a spiritual guide, or trusted friends who've navigated similar terrain. Getting support isn't a sign of weakness. It's a profound act of wisdom and self-preservation. The challenges that truly test relationships, grief, chronic illness, job loss, the relentless demands of parenting, they're meant to be hard. They are not designed to be handled in isolation by two people trying to be superheroes. To internalize this myth is to set yourself up for unnecessary strain, profound loneliness, and often eventual burnout. It's truly worth considering for a moment, for you listening. What beliefs about how you should handle pain did you grow up with? Do you ever find yourself believing you'd be a burden if you asked for help or truly showed vulnerability? Have you perhaps tried to be strong by staying silent, distant, or overly in control during tough times? How might these deeply ingrained beliefs, perhaps inherited from your family or culture, have affected your ability to truly connect with your partner during their darkest hours or when you yourself were struggling? What would fundamentally change, truly, if you gave yourself and your partner permission to be human instead of always feeling the pressure to be heroic?
That's a powerful reflection. Okay, myth two. Talking about it will make it worse.
Oh, yeah. The avoidance myth.
This is a powerful, insidious fear, isn't it? The idea that by reopening the wound or bringing up painful topics, you'll just make your partner feel worse or prolong their suffering. It's that temptation to bury things, to sweep problems under the rug, to pretend they don't exist in the hopes they'll just magically disappear.
Right. The fear that speaking the truth will unleash a torrent of emotion you can't handle.
Exactly.
But the truth, as Dr. Attalla points out with clear, stark clarity, is that avoidance only leads to deeper disconnection. When emotions go unspoken, when pain is unacknowledged, they don't simply vanish into thin air. No. Instead, they go underground, festering beneath the surface, and inevitably emerge later as simmering tension, emotional withdrawal, passive-aggressive behaviors, or even explosive resentment that feels completely out of proportion to the current situation. Talking gently, safely, and openly about difficult emotions and experiences allows the pain to move through you, instead of staying stuck inside you, creating a psychological and emotional block. It creates intimacy instead of distance, because both partners feel less alone in their experience. They feel seen and understood in their suffering. The key isn't to avoid talking altogether. It's about learning how to talk about these challenging things in ways that bring you closer, rather than pushing you further apart. This isn't about endlessly rehashing the same conversation, but about creating genuine, brave space for honest, caring communication about what you're both truly going through, even when it feels messy or uncomfortable.
And finally, myth three. Love means fixing everything. Oh, this one is an exhausting myth.
So exhausting.
It places an immense, often impossible pressure on us to have all the answers, to magically make it better for our partner, to somehow alleviate their pain, and to feel like a complete failure when we can't solve their problems or eliminate their suffering. It turns love into a performance, right? A constant scramble to find a solution.
And this is where Dr. Attalla truly shines a light on a profound and liberating truth. True love isn't about fixing. It's about presence.
Presence, okay?
Think about it. When your partner is hurting, Just sitting next to them, holding their hand and simply saying, I don't have all the answers, and I can't take this pain away, but I'm not going anywhere.
Mm.
That's where real healing begins.
Uh,
That's an act of profound love.
yeah.
When you release yourself from the crushing pressure to fix everything, you free up an incredible amount of energy to do what actually helps, to listen deeply, to offer genuine comfort, and to simply be present with whatever is true for your partner without judgment or agenda. Often, the most loving act you can offer is to witness someone's pain without trying to take it away, to validate their experience rather than trying to diminish it or solve it away.
Right. Because trying to fix can inadvertently communicate, even unintentionally, your feelings are a problem to be solved.
Zigzag. Rather than an experience that needs to be witnessed, which can leave your partner feeling even more unseen, misunderstood, and profoundly alone in their struggle. V. Two healing paths. Acceptance and action for a stronger us.
Okay, so if these pervasive myths are the obstacles, what are the paths forward, the strategies that actually work? Dr. Attalla introduces a core paradox of healing. When couples face hard times, the pain can feel overwhelming, like you're stuck between what you wish could be different and what's actually within your control. The profound insight here is that healing isn't about choosing one path over the other. It's about learning the profound wisdom of knowing when to just sit in the storm and weather it, and when to actively reach for the umbrella together, or even repair the ship while the waves are still crashing.
Right. It's about discernment.
Yeah. He offers two powerful, complementary approaches that must be mastered: acceptance for what can't be changed, and action for what can be addressed or improved.
Let's start with path one, accepting what can't be changed. This is often the hardest part, isn't it? Because our instinct is to fight against discomfort and loss.
Totally.
But some experiences are just reality. You simply cannot undo a devastating diagnosis. You cannot bring a loved one back from the dead. You cannot rewind to a version of your life that no longer exists after a profound shift. These are unchangeable realities, and battling them only prolongs suffering.
But acceptance sounds so passive.
And here's what most people get wrong about acceptance. They think it means giving up, being passive, or just resigning yourself to misery or a lesser future. But Dr. Attalla clarifies that real acceptance is an incredibly active and brave choice.
Okay. Active.
Yes, it's the conscious, courageous decision to stop fighting a reality you cannot alter, so you can channel your precious emotional and mental energy into what truly matters, supporting each other through what is. When couples try to avoid pain by pretending everything is fine or pushing through without acknowledging the profound hurt, the wound festers.
Like ignoring a broken bone.
Exactly. It doesn't heal just because you're not looking at it. In fact, it often gets worse. But when you honor the hurt and validate the emotions, both your own and your partner's, it becomes easier to move through the storm together instead of getting completely stuck in it. Acceptance isn't about becoming okay with terrible things. It's about acknowledging what's real so you can respond from a place of clarity and shared purpose instead of desperation and individual isolation.
Right. And denial isolates.
It does. When one partner is lost in denial, clinging to false hope, the other often feels completely alone in facing the harsh truth. Acceptance creates profound emotional safety. When both partners can genuinely say, yes, this is hard, heartbreaking even, and yes, we're going through it together, something profoundly healing shifts. You stop fighting the unchangeable and start investing in caring for each other. This also prevents that toxic cycle of false hope and crushing disappointment. Acceptance allows for proper grief, which ironically creates space for genuine hope and healing down the line. Most importantly, acceptance gives you both permission to be human, to feel scared, sad, angry, or lost, without having to pretend you're fine or strong.
Right.
This vulnerability, counterintuitively, often brings couples closer together than any amount of forced positivity ever could. It's a profound act of love to witness and accept your partner's pain without needing to solve it.
Okay, so for you listening, maybe take a moment to consider, what pain are you holding on to, perhaps secretly hoping it will just go away on its own or magically disappear if you ignore it? Have you genuinely allowed yourself to fully feel the sadness or anger that often sits beneath a significant loss? How do you typically respond when your partner is hurting? Do you tend to avoid the topic, immediately try to fix the situation? Or can you manage to simply strive to stay present with their discomfort?
What might it truly look like to stop fighting a reality you can't change and start working with it and with each other instead? Are you perhaps more afraid of fully feeling the pain yourself, or of your partner truly seeing you in that raw, vulnerable state? Do you believe that accepting something means giving up hope? Or can you begin to see it as making peace with what truly is, which then frees you to move forward?
And perhaps later, maybe with your partner, you might consider, is there something significant you've never fully talked about together because it feels too hard, too painful? How do each of you typically respond to emotional pain? Do you tend to shut down, lash out, or do you lean in towards each other?
Yeah, and how can you support each other without trying to solve what inherently can't be solved? What would it truly mean for both of you to stop pretending a difficult situation isn't happening and start dealing with it together as a unified team?
When one of you is hurting, do you primarily need the other to simply sit with you in the pain, offering quiet presence, or would you prefer help to distract from it or practical steps to move forward?
And are there any past losses you've experienced as a couple that you've perhaps never properly grieved together, leaving a lingering, unaddressed wound?
These are deep questions.
They are. And to help with this process of acceptance, Dr. Attalla suggests some beautiful, simple rituals that you can do mentally, just visualize them, or physically if you choose. Like imagine creating a grief circle ritual, sitting comfortable with your partner, maybe holding hands, and taking turns naming one thing you're grieving. It could be something from the past or present, a tangible loss, a lost dream, or even just a way things used to be.
And the rules.
Simple.
Oh,
No interrupting, no advice, just silent, loving witnessing. Conclude with a shared breath or a gentle physical touch, acknowledging the shared space of sorrow. This isn't about wallowing, it's about clearing emotional space together, validating the reality of the pain. Or consider a memory lantern activity. Visualize writing down a specific memory, the name of a person, or a version of your life you're mourning, perhaps placing it symbolically in a jar or a small box. You might even imagine creating a small corner of remembrance, maybe with a lit candle. Visit it when you need to feel, not when you need to fix.
that's lovely.
And a simple silent walk. Picture taking a walk together, perhaps in nature, in complete silence. Allow your bodies to simply rest side by side without needing words. It's about shared presence, shared experience, and quiet solidarity, not performance or forced conversation.
Okay, so that's acceptance. Now let's pivot to path two, taking action where you can.
Right. Because while some things are simply unchangeable, many other challenges, often just as overwhelming, are very much within reach of your collective agency. Sometimes healing truly begins with a to-do list, not just a tier.
Okay, like what kinds of things?
Perhaps the stress stems from pervasive poor communication patterns, unclear roles and responsibilities within the household, or profound emotional burnout from chronic stress. Maybe you're dealing with financial tension that's spiraling, simmering resentment over ignored issues, or a profound lack of intentional connection. These are fixable, but only if you're both willing to face them head-on as a team, not as opponents.
Taking action together is a powerful antidote to helplessness, right?
Absolutely. When everything feels overwhelming and out of control, there's something incredibly empowering about identifying even one small thing you can tackle as a team.
Yeah.
It's not about fixing everything at once. It's about remembering that you are partners with agency, not just victims of circumstance.
Yeah.
Even in the middle of a crisis, there are choices you can make that will either bring you closer or push you further apart. Couples who consistently tackle issues side by side, not in opposition, often feel more empowered, more connected, and more hopeful, even when they're dealing with profoundly difficult circumstances.
And why is action so crucial for relationships specifically?
Well, when you're stuck in a problem without actively working on it, resentment builds quickly. One person starts feeling like they're carrying all the weight while the other seems to be doing nothing, or both feel paralyzed, which creates a sense of shared helplessness that can poison everything else.
Right.
Action breaks the cycle of victimhood. Instead of saying, this is happening to us and there's nothing we can do, you start saying, this is challenging us and here's how we're going to respond. That shift from passive to active changes everything about how you relate to each other during difficult times.
It rebuilds trust, too, I imagine.
Powerfully.
Yeah.
Taking action together rebuilds trust and intimacy. When you're both invested in solving problems rather than just complaining about them or letting them fester, you remember that you're on the same team. You start seeing each other as capable, caring partners instead of burdens or obstacles. This creates concrete evidence that you can handle whatever life throws at you together.
And it creates momentum.
Exactly. Psychologically, action creates vital momentum. Even small steps, micro-victories, generate hope and energy that ripple through other areas of your relationship. When you successfully tackle one problem together, you start believing you can handle others. This builds what Dr. Attalla drawing from psychological theory, refers to as collective efficacy.
Collective efficacy.
Yeah, that powerful, almost palpable sense that together you are more capable than the sum of your individual parts. It's that shared belief in us against the challenge, which fuels motivation and provides a psychological safety net. Action also gives you both something tangible and productive to focus on when emotions feel overwhelming, transforming anxiety or anger into productive energy that actually helps move you forward.
Okay, so another moment for reflection for you listening. What's one recurring issue in your relationship that you keep brushing under the rug, hoping it will resolve itself? Do you tend to try to control everything when you feel stressed, or do you tend to check out and avoid when you feel overwhelmed?
hmm What's one small, tangible step you could take this week, right now, to reduce stress or improve your connection with your partner? Where have you perhaps been waiting for your partner to fix something that you both truly need to address together?
And are you perhaps more focused on being right about the problem or on actually solving it for the betterment of the relationship?
Yeah, that's a big one. What would truly change in your relationship if you stopped waiting to the perfect moment to address this issue and simply started?
And if you were to discuss this with your partner later, are there challenges you've both been consciously or unconsciously avoiding out of fear, exhaustion, or simply not knowing where to start? How can you shift from the pattern of blaming each other to actively brainstorming solutions together, truly seeing yourselves as a unified force?
What kind of support do you truly need from your partner right now? Is it practical help, emotional comfort, or perhaps a blend of both?
What's one tangible thing you could tackle together this week that would make your shared life feel a little easier, a little more manageable?
When you face problems as a couple, do you tend to become opponents, or do you instinctively fall into the rhythm of being teammates?
And what's one negative pattern you keep repeating that you could decide to break together, perhaps this very week?
For those who prefer action-oriented steps, Dr. Attalla suggests visualizing some tangible rituals again. Imagine creating a Fix It Friday ritual, carving out a dedicated 30 minutes once a week, maybe over coffee, with the explicit intention of tackling one shared stressor, big or small. Explore it together using we language. How can we handle this? What's our next step? Set one micro goal you can both work toward.
The goal isn't perfection, right?
Not at all. It's consistent progress and reinforcing your partnership. Or picture a calendar check-in, sitting down together at the start of each week to plan your schedules, openly flagging busy or stressful days. Then, intentionally add in one shared joy, a coffee break, short walk around the block, 20 minutes of couch cuddling without phones. The idea is that intentional coordination creates emotional connection.
I like that.
And finally, a love as a verb challenge. Consider picking one small daily gesture to actively show care for your partner. A quick, unexpected note, an unprompted hug, doing a chore for them without being asked, or bringing them their favorite drink. This reminds both of you that love is an action, a verb, not just a fleeting feeling. 6. The nuance of emotional support, beyond fixing.
Knowing the difference between what pain needs to be held and what patterns need to be changed, and then being able to communicate that to your partner effectively, that seems like a truly powerful step toward profound healing and deeper connection.
It really is.
It's the wisdom in knowing when to say, this hurts deeply and we can't change it, but we can absolutely go through it together, versus, this is hard, yes, but we can actually do something concrete about it. That distinction is critical and often missed, I think.
Absolutely. And this brings us to one of the biggest, most common relationship mistakes people make.
Okay.
One that Dr. Attalla explicitly warns against. Thinking that love means having all the answers or constantly fixing everything for your partner.
The fixing myth again.
Yes. He is very clear here. Trying to fix can often make your partner feel profoundly unseen and unheard. When someone you care about is hurting and you immediately jump into problem-solving mode, what you're often unintentionally communicating is, your feelings are a problem to be solved, something to be eliminated, rather than an experience that needs to be witnessed, validated, and held with care.
Right. It can shut down vulnerability rather than encouraging it.
Precisely.
Think about the last time you were truly upset about something significant in your life. Did you immediately want solutions? Someone telling you exactly what to do, even if it felt dismissive of your pain? Or did you just want someone to get it, to sit with you in the mess, to acknowledge your feelings for a minute before rushing towards solutions or trying to cheer you up?
The truth is, most of the time when people share their struggles, their primary need isn't for immediate solutions. They're asking for your presence. They're asking to be seen, to be heard, to be validated, and to be reminded through your calm and steady presence that they are not alone in their experience. They want to know you're there, even if you don't have all the answers.
And here's the beautiful paradox that Dr. Attalla highlights. When people feel truly heard and supported, when their pain is acknowledged without judgment or an immediate attempt to fix, they often find their own solutions more easily and organically than when they feel pressure to take someone else's advice.
Exactly. This doesn't mean you never offer practical help or advice, but it means you learn to distinguish between when someone needs your brilliant solutions and when they simply need your solidarity, empathy, and understanding. It's a delicate dance of attunement.
So as you reflect, maybe consider for yourself. Do you tend to jump into problem solving too quickly when your partner is upset? Perhaps because it makes you uncomfortable to sit with their pain.
Mhm. And when you're hurting, do you personally want advice and a plan first, or do you primarily crave comfort and understanding?
Have you explicitly asked your partner what kind of support feels good to them in difficult moments? Because their needs might differ from yours.
Yeah, that's key. Do you get uncomfortable sitting with difficult emotions, both your own and your partner's? Or can you be present without needing to change anything or make it go away?
Are you perhaps more focused on making the problem itself disappear, or on making your partner feel genuinely understood and connected to you, even in their pain?
And for a thoughtful discussion with your partner later, when you're upset or distressed, how do you most like me to respond? What's one specific thing I do that makes you feel emotionally safe and seen in those moments?
Can you recall a time when you felt I could have been more emotionally present for you and how that might have looked?
Do you generally prefer when I explicitly ask if you want advice, or when I just listen and offer comfort?
And how can I truly tell the difference between when you want solutions and when you simply want my unwavering support and presence?
To help internalize these crucial shifts and move beyond those outdated coping mechanisms, Dr. Attalla suggests a profound rewrite the rules exercise.
Oh, okay. How does that work?
The idea is to sit down with your partner and identify 3 common myths you've both perhaps consciously or unconsciously believed about how couples should handle stress, grief, or major challenges. Then, together, you write your own version of the truth for each one, a personal declaration of how your relationship chooses to face adversity.
Okay, can you give an example?
Sure. So, if a common myth you both believed was, we should always be strong no matter what, your new shared truth could be, sometimes we fall apart, and that's not just okay, it's human. What truly matters is that we fall apart near each other, leaning in, not away from each other into isolation.
I like that. Falling apart near each other.
Yeah. Or if the myth was, we shouldn't need anyone else, our love should be enough, your truth could be, support from our community, friends or professionals doesn't weaken our relationship, it strengthens it. We're not meant to do life alone, and seeking help is a sign of wisdom, not weakness.
Mm.
And for the common myth, if we really love each other, this shouldn't be so hard. Your new truth could be, love doesn't make life easier, it makes it worth it. Hard things are hard, and we can face them together, knowing our connection is our greatest resource.
These aren't just pretty words, as Dr. Attalla reminds us. They are a roadmap, right? A living document for a more honest, more connected way of coping.
Exactly. By embracing your own truths, you free up immense energy that was previously spent on pretense, on upholding impossible standards, redirecting it toward genuine mutual support, profound empathy, and authentic connection. This is how relationships transform from fragile to truly resilient. 7. Building your relationship toolbox for loss and challenges. Proactive preparation.
Okay, let's be honest. No one really expects loss, significant change, or crisis to hit. We tend to live our lives day to day, assuming things will mostly remain the same until, well, they don't.
Right. Complacency sets in.
And when a profound challenge does strike, it's often like getting caught in a sudden violent storm with no umbrella, no map, and absolutely no idea which direction is safe or how to even begin. The chaos can be overwhelming, making clear thought or effective action feel impossible.
But what if, instead of waiting for the storm, you and your partner could prepare for it ahead of time? In therapy, we often have a saying, and it's deeply relevant here. Don't wait until the house is on fire to learn where the exits are.
Good one.
Most couples don't think about how they handle hardship until they're deeply entrenched in it, when emotions are running incredibly high, and logical, calm thought is often the first casualty. But the most resilient couples, the ones who truly thrive through adversity, they create a proactive plan before the breakdown. So they have tools they can instinctively fall back on when clarity is scarce and stress is paramount.
So think of this toolbox as your emotional first aid kit, or your essential survival pack for when life throws those inevitable, often brutal curveballs.
Exactly. It's about becoming the kind of couple who knows how to weather anything together because you've already packed the necessary emotional, relational, and practical tools, and you know how to use them.
Okay. Dr. Attalla suggests 6 essential tools every couple should consciously prepare and practice in advance. Think of these as your go-to resources for navigating the unexpected. What's tool number 1?
First, safe words and signals.
Okay, what's that?
This is a pre-agreed word, phrase, or even a specific gesture that clearly communicates, I'm overwhelmed, I need a pause, or I need space, without triggering more conflict or defensiveness.
Why does that matter?
It's a quick, effective way to de-escalate tension when either partner is emotionally flooded, preventing conversations from spiraling into shouting matches or hurtful exchanges. It's basically a verbal timeout button.
How do you try this?
Simply sit down and agree on a neutral, non-blaming phrase, something like, timeout, yellow light, or maybe, I love you, but I need 10 minutes to collect myself before we continue this conversation. Then practice using it gently.
Got it. Tool number 2.
A crisis communication plan.
Meaning?
This is a shared understanding or explicit agreement on how you will communicate with each other during high-stress times. Especially when emotions are running high or quick, difficult decisions are needed.
Why is that important?
It prevents damaging miscommunication and festering resentment when stress levels are peaking and you're both operating on fumes. For example, during a family emergency, without a plan, one partner might expect constant updates while the other retreats into silence, leading to hurt feelings.
Okay, so how do you set one up?
Make a simple, actionable plan. Will you check in with each other once a day, no matter what? Will you agree to text each other before venting a big emotionally charged problem? Or perhaps use voice notes instead of long, potentially explosive phone calls when you're physically apart and stressed. The goal is predictability in the midst of chaos.
Okay. Third tool.
A support list.
Sounds simple.
It is, but crucial. This is a pre-made, readily accessible list of go-to resources you can both rely on when things get tough. Think of contacts like a trusted therapist, a close friend who is a good listener, your doctor, a spiritual guide, maybe a financial advisor.
Yeah, why have it ready?
Because when you're in the middle of a crisis, whether it's medical, financial, or emotional, it's incredibly difficult to think clearly, remember who to call, or even articulate what kind of help you need. Having a ready list saves precious time, energy, and reduces the immense mental load of figuring it out when clarity is scarce.
How to try it.
Just sit down together and list out maybe 5 people or professionals you would collectively or individually call in a truly tough time. Make sure you have their contact information easily accessible, maybe in a shared note.
Smart. Tool 4.
Grief and stress rituals.
Like the ones you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. These are agreed-upon shared ways to process intense emotion, whether it's grief, anxiety, or general stress. This could involve journaling, prayer, going for walks in nature, listening to specific music together, or simply exchanging long, comforting hugs without words.
Why do these matter?
These rituals create a shared coping rhythm and can significantly reduce emotional reactivity and individual isolation. They provide a predictable, safe outlet for overwhelming feelings, reinforcing that you're in this together.
How to try this?
Choose one shared activity you'll commit to when you're both struggling. Maybe it's having tea together on the balcony in silence, or committing to 10 minutes of quiet, side-by-side presence at the end of a hard day, no talking required.
Okay, 5th tool.
A conflict repair script.
A script? Really?
Yeah, a simple, agreed-upon template for reconnecting and repairing the bond after an argument or disagreement. It's like a verbal bridge to mend the emotional gap.
Why is that helpful?
It helps you reconnect quickly, prevents arguments from lingering and festering, and reduces the damaging effects of unresolved conflict. It's a way to ensure that even when you fight, you always know how to find your way back to each other.
Okay, give me an example script.
Agree on something simple like, I was feeling emotion, and I know I action, e.g. raise my voice. Then, what I need now is example, to feel heard, a hug, and finally, can we move forward together? This provides a clear, empathetic path back to connection, reinforcing that the relationship is bigger than the disagreement.
Okay, I see the value. And the 6th tool.
An emergency self-care menu.
For each person.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a short, personalized list of activities that effectively calm and ground each of you individually during overwhelming or stressful times.
Why is this crucial?
This is crucial for preventing individual burnout, which can quickly lead to resentment in the relationship, and ultimately emotional collapse for one or both partners. When you know what helps you personally recharge, you can show up more fully for your partner.
How to try this?
Each of you should list 3 simple things that help you feel safe, calm, and grounded when you're overwhelmed. It could be listening to a specific song, taking a hot bath, going for a run, or reading for 15 minutes. Keep that list visible, perhaps on the fridge or easily accessible on your phone so you can grab it when you need it most.
Okay, 6 tools: safe words, crisis communication plan, support list, grief stress rituals, conflict repair script, and emergency self-care menu.
Exactly. And as you listen to these tools, it's a great opportunity to consider. When the last truly hard time hit your relationship, what did you both do well in terms of coping or connecting? What felt like it was missing from your coping mechanisms or shared resources? Do you truly know what helps you personally regulate and recover versus what helps your partner when you're both struggling? Understanding these differences is key.
And if you were to discuss this with your partner, maybe ask, what are 3 tools you'd like to consciously practice? Maybe even role play or discuss in detail before the next challenge inevitably comes your way.
Yeah, and how can you better support each other during times of intense stress? Truly leveraging these tools. And what would emotional safety truly look like and feel like for your relationship in its hardest, most vulnerable moments? These are questions worth exploring deeply.
We really encourage you to make your toolbox visible and actionable. Don't let this just be an interesting deep dive you listen to. Maybe dedicate even 45 minutes this week to build your personalized relationship toolbox together. Use a physical notepad, a shared whiteboard, or a digital document. List your agreed upon safe word, your go-to support people, 3 soothing rituals you'll try, a copy of your conflict repair script, and your individual emergency self-care menus.
Put it somewhere visible in your home, or keep a digital version easily accessible on your phones.
You don't have to use all the tools all the time, of course.
No. But knowing they're there, knowing you have a plan, a shared strategy, and the collective intention to use them, that's incredibly powerful. It's a tangible symbol of your commitment to navigate anything together.
Because love is not just what you feel in good times.
Right. It's what you build together with intention and courage for the hard ones.
Yeah.
It's the framework that holds you when the world shakes. Outro.
And there you have it, our deep dive into navigating challenges in relationships, powered by the profound, actionable insights from Dr. Nader Attalla's Couple Therapy Workbook. We've uncovered the undeniable truth. Storms are not only inevitable, but they don't have to break you. Instead, you have 2 powerful complementary paths: acceptance for what can't be changed, and decisive action for what can be addressed, and a whole toolbox of strategies and rituals to navigate them together.
And perhaps most importantly, we've learned that true emotional support isn't about having all the answers or constantly fixing things. It's about unwavering presence, listening, and validating your partner's experience.
Yeah.
These challenges aren't meant to break you apart. They're actually meant to show you the extraordinary strength and the unyielding depth of connection you already possess within your bond, and what incredible resilience you can build together when you choose to face adversity as a unified, conscious team.
Love's true resilience isn't found in avoiding the difficult, but in courageously transforming through it.
Emerging with a bond that is deeper, more authentic, and more enduring than you ever imagined possible.
As you move forward from this deep dive, maybe consider this and keep it close. What if the greatest, most profound act of love isn't just in the moments of effortless joy and sunshine, but in the unwavering, quiet, often difficult commitment to truly show up for your partner, fully human and fully present, holding hands through every single inevitable storm life sends your way?
It's in those moments that love truly proves its worth.